Yo, what up muchachos? I have not done a video regarding Sharegrid on this channel, and I wanted to talk about, just briefly, about Sharegrid in general. So Sharegrid is a peer-to-peer camera rental service. They facilitate everything online, and you communicate with the renter or the rentee, and you can rent other people's equipment or you can rent out your own equipment. Now I tend to do the latter, and for the past 2 years, have been renting my equipment to other people. And it's been really nice. I have a plethora of equipment that I don't use every day, and I don't even use every weekend. So I tend to just list everything that I have, and so it works out really well when I'm not using the equipment, and I can just give it to somebody else, and they can use it for their production. I want to focus on 2 months: the month of November of this year and the month of December of this year. It's currently the 22nd of December, and I don't expect too many more people to be renting equipment in the next couple of days. They might after Christmas, with maybe some New Year's stuff, events, parties, all sorts of stuff happening at the end of the year. And there might be some opportunity to rent some equipment out to other creatives. So the month of November was the first month being consistently back since the middle of May of this year. And the end of May all the way until the end of July, my wife and I, we were in Mexico for a bit and then California for 2 months. And it just wasn't feasible or even possible to rent out my equipment without having some systems in place, which we didn't have. And that was totally fine. It's totally cool that we didn't do that and stress over it. But it will be nice to now be back and be consistently on Sharegrid and people renting out our equipment. At the end of May all the way to the end of July, my wife and I, we were in Mexico for a little bit. And in 2 months we were in California, and I didn't have systems set up to rent out my equipment to other people. I had quite a bit of the equipment on me that gets rented out consistently, so that just wasn't going to work out either. And then from the month of August, September and October, August we were moving out of our previous place, and then September and October we were in Peru that whole time until middle of October. About the 15th of October we were back. But again, no systems were in place to be able to rent out my equipment. Systems being like having a friend or a relative facilitate the rentals, where they could hold on to the equipment and the rentee would come and pick up, or the renter would come and pick up the equipment to rent out for however long they needed it. So I didn't have these systems in place, and my equipment was safe in storage. So I didn't really want to deal with it, didn't want to think about it. Took the 5 months to just take a pause on it. And then opening it back up in November, I just fully was not expecting it to be back to the numbers that I was making before May. And that was really nice, because it's just nice to have some extra cash when maybe projects are slower or gigs are slower or just little things. And it's nice to have some extra cushion with equipment that we already have. So for the month of November, we made $816, a little shy of the $1,000 goal that I set myself every month. Especially before May, I was setting that goal to reach that every month, and not expecting November to be like that, where it was just shy of that number, and it was really great. Blackmagics were being rented out, Sony A7 IIIs were being out. And for context, a lot of my equipment is a previous generation than the newest and flashiest thing that just came out. For the month of December, we made $741. Another figure that I just wasn't really expecting that we would reach. We were gone for about a week and a half, out of town, and I didn't set something up for renters to be able to get equipment. And so that was really nice, because a lot of the renters were in the past week and a half, right before Christmas and stuff like that. As of filming, today is the 22nd of December, so I don't expect too many more people to be renting out the next couple of days. Maybe after Christmas, right before the New Year's, there's some events, parties, things like that. Justify, okay. Now, these aren't numbers to ball out on by any means, and they're numbers for just extra spending cash, or in my case, I'm saving up for the Sony A7 IV that was released not too long ago. And so this allows me to justify, one, buying new equipment, and two, I can also put it right back on this platform, because I did some market research as to if it's being rented out. So I'm going to come onto the page and do some market research, and it's definitely focused on the Sony a7 IV, which is a goal for the next camera. And we can see here only 2 people have it listed on Sharegrid in Atlanta, one being $90 and one being $93 every day. And the average rental price is actually $79. I don't know if they have that across the nation, across the state, across the city. I'm not quite sure where they come up with that number, and also not sure rental frequency. That might just be like a national average regarding that listing. And it looks like 1 to 2 days per month. So I'm gonna do a search on the Sony a7 III and get some numbers and some averages and stuff like that as well. You can probably see, you probably might have seen 2 of my listings there. But here, for example, there's 49 listings of the Sony a7 III, and the average rental price is $74 a day and 3 to 4 days per month, with a payoff time of 7 months. Now I think the Sony a7 IV is better than the a7 III, but I think that you could be making so much more on the Sony a7 IV than what the averages are portraying. Now I'm going to do another search for the Mini 3 Pro, the DJI Mini 3 Pro, and it's something that I was considering. And looking at this person has only gotten 20 views of their Mini 3 Pro. Not sure if it's all the flames on their listing that it's getting harder to see, but it's the only one in Atlanta, and it's only gotten 20 views. So for me, it doesn't make sense to acquire this just for rentals, unless I use this maybe for personal use as well, or commercial use, but it doesn't seem like the wise choice to list it solely for Sharegrid. Now I'm going to show you some numbers of views that my listings get, and my most popular one is my Sony a7 III setup. It's kind of hard. It's kind of been hard to want to sell my Sony a7 III because of the popularity and the demand that it has gotten just in the past 2 months, that it brings in a couple extra $100 rather than selling it and then I can't rent it out anymore. Now I'm going to delete some of these listings because I just don't have them anymore. The Blackmagic 4K I sold, and I'm probably going to buy one again because this again also got so many views as well. Now here I'm changing some of the prices of some of my equipment. The DJI Ronin S I'm considering on selling. It hasn't been rented out lately at all. And then just dropping down some prices to get some extra rentals on some particular equipment that I think could be rented out a little bit more in the next couple of months. So for the last 2 months, made $1,562. Nothing too crazy, but it's nice having that extra bit for repurposing and reinvesting into even more equipment and or funding passionate projects. Sharegrid has always been something that I'm comfortable with because of the insurances and the third-party insurances that they offer to the people renting, or the people renting already have their own insurance, so when they rent, that kicks in and then that equipment is covered. The only issue that I had in the past 2 months was a top handle being disassembled and then the screws being loose. And I have plenty of extra of those screws, so it's nothing that I was really concerned about, I didn't complain about. And so it was just nice to be back on the platform after taking such a long period of time off. And the next few months, I want to not just hit my goals of 1,000 every month, but I want to start progressively raising that goal by increments of like $250. So if you found this video or information useful at all, or maybe it inspires you to also get onto Sharegrid, I highly recommend it. Check it out. It really does help a lot when you're in a bigger city and the creative scene is a lot bigger. And so there's more opportunity for others to rent. Sometimes there's just people coming from out of town. In Atlanta, there's only really one big rental house, and so that's the convenience of myself having all this equipment, that there are people that will contact me during the weekend and the rental house is closed Saturday and Sunday, or they're closed after 5 and they need something immediately or something quick. They either come to nearby where I live, or I meet them and I charge them $30 to go meet them, and I charge another $30 to pick it up. So it creates a nice system where I'm also not just getting money from the equipment, but also making a lot of connections with other creatives that may need help, like an assistant, or maybe a creative producer or creative director needs someone to help film or capture the project that they have a vision in. So I hope you found this information useful. I am going to make another video kind of just recapping the whole year and that number and the goals for next year, and how I'm going to implement what I learned this year, and definitely pushing it for next year to not only just reach that goal, but also hopefully double it. So yeah, hopefully I'll get this video out soon. If you found this information useful, or if you just want to create some dialogue and talk to me, feel free to comment and I'll respond through there. Or if you can message me, or if you want to email me, I also have my Instagram linked if you have any questions about Sharegrid and you want some advice or any sort of feedback or anything at all. I'm pretty open to talking about that, and I love it because I'm such a gearhead and I love talking about gear. And yeah, and if you like this video, feel free to like it. And if you want to see more content like this, I do plan and aim to make some more consistent Sharegrid videos. Probably not every month of a Sharegrid video. I think I'm going to aim for every 2 months and just talking about the experience and what I want to do the next following 2 months. So appreciate it. Happy holidays.